Yes. Hey, hello, good morning. Welcome everybody. Ooh, I just realized this room echoes. I'm in the new studio, the new webinar studio. That's why it kind of looks like, anyway. And I didn't get my stand to put this upright, so it's okay. This will work because we're going to be on the PowerPoint most of the time. And oh, I've got two participants. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And this is going to be a fun webinar because, and since I've talked to you last 2 weeks ago, we went from winter, someone flipped a switch and we went into summer, and I've got phenomenal photos of what happened in my own garden. And I bet you all could tell tales about what's happening in your gardens too. I'm going to share what I've been seeing at the diagnostic desk with you, and what you need to be aware of and prepare for. And we're going to have fun today. So I will do the presentation. I'll make sure that you download the outline. We sent that with the link to the webinar, and download the outline, and then you can tell that I'm a little rattled because of Wi-Fi issues. I'm going to write a book about Zoom, Wi-Fi, webinars, all those things. Again, I say this every time I work with you all. It's a good thing I do hair color, isn't it? Because this is one of those yesterday, last night, and this morning, where tomorrow morning I may wake up all white. So here we go. So I'm going to do the presentation. I'll give the presentation, and then I'll answer questions afterwards. Please put your questions in the Q&A column. I can keep track of them better when I'm answering them. And we still have 10 minutes to get started. I didn't bring my Yeti. I didn't bring my my mug of coffee or my mug of iced tea, which I was lugging too much across the parking lot to get over here. So I guess I'm going to be running probably across the street to Dunkin' Donuts as soon as I get finished. Iced coffee today, though. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. I'll make a couple other fun public announcements for you as well. I have 3 people. Welcome, welcome. And Jennifer Brennan, Horticulture Information Specialist here. And here we're going to share the screen. All right, we need to get some decorations in this new studio, don't we? All right, share. Pretty cool. It's too many faces of me. At least my hair looks about the same. Okay, let's just do slideshow from the beginning. I should have a better picture. Oh, this is kind of cool. This looks like I'm really going to get serious, doesn't it? I love it. Okay, now let's see. Oh, now I can't see the bottom part. Pooey. Wow. It's a good thing I just naturally smile, isn't it? I did it. I did it, everybody. Cool. Oh, come on, silly thing. All right. That light is really icky, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can change this a little bit before we get started. Oh, I can just do this. I can just do this. Oh, that's not going to help. No, let's do. Oh, well, that's better. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is good. We don't have that icky light shining at everybody's eyes. All right, this is good. This is my first launch of doing a webinar in our dedicated webinar studio over at the Chalet Office Plaza, the COP. I hope everybody saw their email with the fun announcements. We're still doing fun sales. We have a neat new promotion this weekend on 4-inch hostas, all different kinds of cultivars, very unusual cultivars. And they're either $4.99, they range at $4.99 to $7.99. And so come and get some baby hostas at a great value, a wonderful value. Okay. All right, I'm going to relax. Okay, I have to text my marketing people that everything is cool. Welcome, welcome. I see I have a few more people signing in. And I'm Jennifer Brennan. I'm the horticulture information specialist here at Chalet, also known as the garden coach. I kind of had a fun gig this week, or I was asked to do an interview with Tracy Butler on the streaming channel, the ABC TV streaming channel. So it was really fun, and you can find it on the ABC TV website. And we talked about the frost-free date was last Sunday, and we were talking about what you can plant and what you should be watching out for in the garden. And we had a blast. We had a fun time, and it went so well answering questions with the anchors that they decided they want to do a question and answer segment on a monthly basis where I answer viewers' questions. So that's going to be kind of fun, way fun. Okay, it looks like I lost somebody. Okay, so welcome, welcome. Reporting into my marketing team, making sure everything was working over here. All right. Okay. Oh, I have one question already. Wow. Let me check it. We still have 5 minutes. Let me check. Okay, this is Penny Randall. I bought the plant skid in both granular and liquid. It works well. However, I cleaned the liquid sprayer and it still has not worked after the first use. I took the sprayer off and sprayed water until it was clear, then put it back. It still will not spray. Oh man. Okay. So Penny, just bring it back. We'll exchange it for you. And what we may have to do is you know, Penny, just bring it back and ask for Jennifer, and I'll help you out. All right? Okay. All right. Here's another. Sander, is it Oates or Otis? I'd like to plant lavender in a container. I read it needs poor soil. What soil mix should I use? What it means, it doesn't need poor soil. Lavender will survive in poor soil. And what they're talking about is lavender is a Mediterranean native, where it's usually rocky soil, really well drained. And when it's rocky and sandy, those types of soils do not have a high cation exchange capacity. There's no surface areas for the nutrients to adhere. So they don't, they don't get a lot of nutrient. But, if you're going to grow it, in a container, containers also tend to be considered like poor soil because we water them so often that all the nutrients wash out of them. I would use the either a succulent mix or either the chalet potting mix is excellent because it's so well drained and so light and aerated. But then use the Dr. Earth tomato, vegetable, and herb food. And you just put that on once a month, and that will make sure you get some good flowers. Okay, and can I mix it with Russian sage? Man, Russian sage is a huge plant. And so it's probably going to choke out the lavender. Okay, great questions. I'm kind of breaking my rule to answer questions beforehand, but it's not kind of a nice way to see that people can ask questions. Okay, so now I'm going to put this back down again and address everybody. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Here we go. Oh, we got 10 people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm Jennifer Brennan. I'm the horticulture information specialist here at Chalet. I've been here 31 years. And I'm also known as the garden coach. So this is the garden coach webinar, and we're doing them every 2 weeks. So much has happened since 2 weeks ago as far as weather is concerned. So I'm going to go ahead. It is 9:59. I'm going to go ahead and get started in just a few seconds. I'm going to do the whole presentation, and then I'll answer the questions afterwards, however long it takes to answer them all. I took care of a couple of them early. And then you got the outline. It was sent with the link to the webinar. It's a 2-pager, and it has the products I'm going to be talking about and most of the notes that are on the PowerPoint. So the topics, we'll go ahead and get started. One more minute here. The topics today is, the most important thing is the nursery is wide open. We actually had 35 trucks, semi-trucks unloaded last week. So we're getting new selections every day. Even as I speak, they're unloading trucks back there. So when I looked at my topic sheet from a year ago, so the 2021 topic, I had this urgent note, urgent, urgent, urgent. The viburnum leaf beetle larvae have emerged. That was last year. So if I was encouraging everybody that they're going to have to use, they would have to use a foliar spray if they had not used the systemic drench. Now, this year I haven't seen any yet, but I have seen a rose slug and a rose sawfly larva, which seems very early. And so I want you to stay tuned, keep your eyes peeled on your viburnums. If you haven't treated your viburnums, make sure you treat them with the systemic drench. And I'm going to show you the slide of that a little bit later. And but that's big topic. So seen at the diagnostic desk, the cool thing is the boxwood are coming in. And when I peel open the leaves, the leaf miners, or they also call them maggots, have pupated, and they're in the pupa stage inside the leaves. I'll show you photos of that. I've probably seen 8 different leaf curlers on hydrangeas. They also call those leaf tears. Again, I talked about the rose slug sawfly that came in 2 days ago. Very early, seems extremely early. Pachysandra, we're seeing all kinds of Volucella stem blight and Volucella leaf blight. Clematis, I've had like 25 people come to talk to me about how all the leaves are yellow. And that's just because it was so cold when these leaves were first forming. They didn't have, they weren't bringing up the nutrients to form the chlorophyll. They'll outgrow it. They'll bloom just fine. I was out in my own garden yesterday, kind of looking at everything, and I meant to download this and put it in the webinar, but I have to show you that this is my own. I don't know if you can see this. You're probably not going to be able to see this. This is my own clematis with all those yellow leaves. So it even happens to the horticulturist. Okay, okay, then drought damage. Most of the samples I'm seeing at the diagnostic desk are plants that were suffering from the drought and the lack of rain and lack of water last year. Okay, now I'm going to talk about treating the lawns right now before the diseases. Talk about the upcoming lawn care. It's Memorial Day fertilization. Roses are in, they look gorgeous. Hummingbirds are back. A customer came in to tell me that hummingbird, she lives on she has a large deck where she had black and blue salvia in window boxes all last year. And the hummingbirds, 2 hummingbirds came and were pecking on her window. And then when I mentioned that to my husband, he mentioned that he had seen one outside his office window at our house. So I got to get my feeders out. Okay, number one, public enemy number one for our gardens, the rabbits. They're just awful. And then deer. And then I'm going to talk about preventing the alien insect, damage, fungal disease protection, weed prevention, and show you what's happening in my own garden. Okay, here we go. Oh, I got to get off of that. And we've got 15 people. Welcome. And we're just going to get started with the Garden Coach webinar right now. All right. I am on a mailing list for the Chicago District golf course. It's called, it's the Chicago Superintendent's Golf Course Association. It's their turf grass program, and they send scouting reports. And the May 13th, report was spring no more. We had record heat in between last webinar and this webinar. And I love how Derek Settle, who is the person in charge, describes this. It's 3 words is all that needed to summarize May's second week in Illinois. Spring no more. And then the radio news went something like this. Last night's low of 74 set a new record. Yesterday's first official high of 90 degrees also set a new record, because Chicago normally doesn't see its first 90-degree day until June 5th. So we've been just seeing, freaky. And then he also said, forget about too much rain. The whole week we had those 88-degree temperatures and 90-degree temperatures. The sky was sunny or even just partly cloudy, and no rainfall that whole week. This is the summary of week number 2. Again, the peak. The second week of May was like peak summertime, and you can see the highs on this chart, and we were right there. We were right there at the record highs. On May 12th, that Thursday, we set a new record, with the maximum air temperature of 91 degrees. And so normally the air temperature this time of year should be anywhere between 48 and 72. We're going to be 88 degrees again today. Just ridiculous. So, and I love how Dr. Settle mentioned that you have to go back into a decade, into 2011, when we were having this high temperature pattern. And back then the record high was 92 degrees that was recorded. So, in comparison, last year, the Chicago air temperature at this point ranged from 39 degrees to 71 degrees. We were so cold and so dry. So, it was so much lower last year than what we're experiencing now. Precipitation, Mother Nature's being nice to us this year. But unfortunately, we didn't get any rainfall that second week of May. So I'm telling people you have to water. So, watch that rainfall. The accumulated precipitation for May is actually about it's almost 2 inches, 1.92. And then the normal accumulation, for this point in May should be 1.93. So we're right, we're normal, but because we started out the first of the month so heavy. So, but, again, I like to tell people that if you had a gallon of water a week ago and you didn't have any water all week, would you be, thirsty? Absolutely. So we need to, pace the water. And it was interesting. Last year was horrendous. At this point, we'd only had 0.3 inches of rainfall in the month, and we'd only had a half of an inch of rainfall in April, the month before. So this year is so much better, even though we're having these hot temperatures. Now, these were the words again from Dr. Settle. Spring 2022 rapidly progressed. And it was, I'm not exaggerating. These are the trees in my yard. And you could see, I would leave in the morning, there were no buds open on these trees at all. I would come home in the evening, and the leaves on the oaks and the maples were almost the size of mouse ears. And then the landscape just exploded in color, that in the last 2 weeks. Red buds in full bloom, lilacs in full bloom, all of the crab apples went into bloom, the viburnums, there were just pinks and magentas and purples everywhere. It's just been spectacular. And then the fragrances were there also, especially the lilacs. Now, this is what I love. This is my lawn in this upper right-hand picture. The turf grass woke up. And so the cool season, creeping bent grass. And this was from, again, a report from Dr. Settle out in the research grounds out in Lamont. And all of the cool season creeping bentgrass, is fully awake, but it was a little bit behind the annual bluegrass. And there's a photo of the annual bluegrass down below showing how it seeded out. So it went from in just high gear. It went from 0 flowers to 100% flowers or peak seed production. People have been coming in every day. What is this? What is this? What is this? And it's kind of considered a weed in our perennial bluegrass and perennial rye gardens. And it was just amazing. It was like 7 days of rapid growth of everything. That first week we had all those hot temperatures. So then what's interesting, he was not exaggerating when he says, you could look down and you could actually see how the turf grass just jumped several inches up out of the ground. This was the case in my own lawn. And, then it looked like you had to mow and mow and mow. Now, some of the weeds that we're starting to see, and I have people coming in asking about crabgrass. Crabgrass is just now germinating. The seed will germinate when the cell temperatures are the right temperature for lilacs to be in bloom. So if you didn't get a pre-emergent down before last week, too late. Now you're going to have to deal with post-emergent weed control. And the thick blaze that you're seeing in your lawns right now are quackgrass. And it's really easy to identify. It has a blue-green color, and it has these, what we call them clasping auricles. You can see where the blade attaches to the stem. It wraps around and clasps the stem, and you can see that right on that photo. And then it also has the ability to produce rhizomes, so it really spreads out, but it's not easy to control. You have to use a non-selective herbicide to take care of that. The other thing that showed up is sod webworm. Now this was on the greens. So this is bent grass. So I have not heard of any problems on our bluegrasses and our perennial ryegrasses just yet. If you used GrubX and you're using GrubX for your grub control, it will prevent sod webworm. So you're in good shape with that. Okay, this is fun, and I'm going to show you these progressive pictures of my own garden. Okay, this is what my lawn looked like May 1st. And look at all the bare spots that are all over it. And then this is what it looked like on Tuesday, the 17th. Oh, no, that was Wednesday. And then it was mowed the day after that. This is what my rhododendrons looked like on May 7th. They were just starting, the flowers were just starting to open up. And notice the Ario marginata hosta that are down. They were just emerging. They're just emerging. This was the next day, May 8th. All my tulips just popped. They popped into bloom. And then this was May 9th, looking from the other direction, and the tulips just were looking fabulous. So then from May 9th to May 11th, I did these as bouquets, and this was in full sun and in the after work, that day, on the May 9th picture. And May 11th was in the morning, so the flowers were closed. But look how my bouquets came up. You can see the grape hyacinth coming up around the edges of the tulips. Uh-oh, I even have weeds in my lawn. These are wild violets. So so this is, you use chickweed, clover, and oxalis. It's actually labeled for wild violets, and you spray it. It helps if you fertilize and then spray after you put your fertilizer on the whole lawn. It revs up the metabolism of these weeds, and then that herbicide, and those herbicides are actually plant hormones that only kill broadleaf weeds. That's why it doesn't kill the grass when you use it. So you spray it on that, and it will get rid of them. This is what May 11th looked like. My rhododendrons, these are aglauritum, is full bloom. But look, you can't see any, you can't see any. This was before the 88-degree week. So all of my trees have no leaves, absolutely no leaves on them. And then this is May 11th. I'm showing you that bouquet. And then doggone it, this past Tuesday, this is showing how the tulips blasted, and that's what breaks my heart about tulips. If it gets hot, they're gone almost instantaneously. It's terrible. So now these are still the cool season plants that will look good into June. So if you planted a lot of cool season plants, keep them well watered, give them another shot of fertilizer, and they'll keep hellebores. Hellebores are just finishing, but the violas and the pansies and the primula will still keep looking very good. Roses are in, and they look fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Look at these knockouts, just incredible. And then the warm season plants to plant now that are safe to plant now, geraniums, and then the tuberous begonias. Also impatiens. We've got impatiens, and we've got the disease-resistant varieties. Beacon impatiens are the ones from the Ball Horticultural and Pan American Seed, their subsidiaries. Pan is a subsidiary of Ball Horticulture, and you can see all the colors, and you see that wonderful bedding effect of the Walleriana types of impatiens. This is from another company, Syngenta, also was doing work on disease resistance, and their group is called the Imara XDR. That means resistant to the disease resistant. And then look at the great colors. They have done a phenomenal job to replace our wonderful shade best friend, the shade impatiens. Another group of warm season plants that are safe to plant now, and we've got tons of them, are the salvias. This is one of my favorites. This is black and blue salvia, and this one gets big. This one can get 36 inches tall. Great for the back of a container or the center of a container. And those stems are black. Those flowers are just that royal blue color. Incredible, just incredible. Another wonderful warm season plant that we usually don't get in until it really gets warm, but we've gotten the shipments in. These are the annual vincas. Catharanthus is the genus name of them. And they come in all kinds of wonderful colors. They're solid colors. They're ones with different eyes. Like I love this one. This one, the pale, white to pink with that dark pink eye. And then we also have, the pink ones, just incredible. And then they love hot, dry locations. And you see the shiny, glossy leaf. And what's nice is if you have a landscape that has shady areas and sunny areas, you can match the colors of the annual vinca with an impatiens and make it look like you have the same plant all the way across your landscape. Other warm season plants that are safe to plant now, tomatoes. And we just got a whole bunch of different varieties and it's in our courtyard. And then also basil. Basil is this is the broadleaf basil. And I think this is a Genovese. Another one that's excellent. And as soon as I announce it, on this webinar, it'll run out. My absolute favorite is called Pesto Perpetuo, and it's a plant that gets about 24 inches tall. It's narrower than it is wide, smaller leaves that are variegated, so they're green and white. But oh my gosh, you just walk by it and it makes you hungry for pesto. And it's so tasty. And it's wonderful, like in the middle of a pot, or I'll put that on the corners of my vegetable garden because that repels animals that try to come in and get my tomatoes. Summer flowering bulbs are safe to plant in the garden now. So if you bought your bulbs early and you didn't get them planted up in containers, The dahlias can go out. Look at the two different dahlias. The irises, the elephant ears, the begonias, the caladiums, and the cannas, and the lilies. The lilies. Now it's safe to get them out in the ground. Hummingbirds are back, and my favorite. I own this little window mounted one. It's up in this upper left-hand corner. I love it, and my cat loves it too. My cat loves to watch. He sits on the dining room table where he's not supposed to sit, but he sits there and watches the hummingbirds come in and out. So get your feeders up because they're in the area. This warm up really helped them. Last year and a couple of springs in a row, we were so cold that they tracked over and came up the Fox River Valley instead of coming up the lakefront. So we missed them in the last like 2 springs because it was too cold here for them to. Now, public enemy, still the rabbit, still the rabbit. You've seen this slide where they eat the arborvitae completely up, stripped a serviceberry and a rose. And the best repellent is, for pressure from wildlife. That this is what a Department of Natural Resource agent up in Wisconsin calls it. If you have high pressure from wildlife, you want to use plant skid. These are the granular forms. I can't believe I don't have it on here. And here are the liquid forms right here. And I had someone ask earlier. It is a blood-based product, so it can coagulate and clog sprayers. So the minute you get done spraying, rinse it out. Don't wait. Rinse it out the minute you get done spraying. Keep the lid of the spray bottle so you can cap it, and then you put the sprayer in each time. So yeah, here we go. Liquid Fence is also really good. So we did have the dual action. Our buyer was able to get the last of it from one of our distributors, and then once it's sold out, it's going to be gone. So so now, oh boo. This is the boxwood leaf miner. The sample the photo that's right in the middle is what the samples are looking like now that people are bringing in. And I had one come in just yesterday. So the larvae, or they call them maggots, because this is in the fly family. They have pupated. So when you peel open those leaves and look at the top photo on the left, if your leaves look bumpy like that, especially when you look on the underneath side, see how lumpy it looks, then that is the best indicator that you have boxwood leaf miner. So, definitely, use the drench and there's boxwood are short enough that you can use the liquid drench. It's either the Bonide or the Bayer, the Bio Advanced 12-month tree and shrub. It only takes 5 days for it to go to the top of a boxwood. So you could still get by using the liquid drench rather than the spray. And then here's what the larva looked like under the microscope. And I played this a couple of times. Oh, well, here, I'll do it again. It's kind of fun to see them wiggle. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Let's go back. Okay, I have to bring this. Where is my cursor? Okay. So I had peeled open, and look at the maggots wiggling. This teaches you scientific detachment, and you can see how small that leaf is. And I peeled it open, and you can sort of see them right there. And then this is what the samples look like. Looks lumpy on the back. It's not just all tan colored. Okay, these are the soil drenches you want to use. Either the Bio Advanced, or it's renamed. The label looks the same as it's Bio Advanced. It used to be Bayer Advanced, and then it has the measuring cap at the top. And then we also have the Bonide tree and shrub, annual tree and shrub, and we have a 32 ounce and also 128 ounce gallon size. And you'll use this on the boxwood. You can also use it on roses and use it on viburnums. And speaking of the viburnums, these guys, this is the most evil insect that I have ever seen. The larvae have not hatched yet, but touch wood. Just because I'm saying this, someone's going to bring a sample in today. But so make sure you've treated your your viburnums, especially if they're the dentatum types. So if you look at your leaves and you have that see the dented edge, those are the dentatums or the nannyberry. And make sure you treated them, because when these larvae hatch, they can strip a 6-foot shrub of their leaves in 3 to 5 days. They're evil. And then once they get full, which is usually about 2 to 3 weeks, they drop to the ground and pupate and then come back as these adults at the end of July into August. And the adults are even smaller than the larvae are. And I mean, they're not even as big as the tip of my little fingernail. And what happens, the adults will mate and then lay eggs on the new shoots of the viburnums. And then they don't strip a plant, but they'll damage the plant, make holes in the leaves. So they're there at the end. I'm seeing tons, absolutely tons of euonymus scale samples. And the crawlers, because of this heat, are probably just going to be emerging by the end of this month. And then, so you want to spray, use a systemic drench. I also like people to spray with an horticultural oil on the woodier stems, because you can see how the scale insect kind of crusts over on the woody parts, and you have to penetrate that. A lot of times the systemics and on stems that are larger than an inch in diameter, when the insects are sucking the juices from the plant, they're sucking from the phloem, which is the sap, not the water conducting vessels, the xylem. Okay, now I am seeing so many samples like this, everybody. Okay, someone brought in an arborvitae, and it didn't look bad, but the tips, it sort of had a brown cast to it when you looked from a distance. So they brought a sample in, and I put it, and I thought they were talking about this, the cones that were on the ends of the branches. But I put it in the microscope. You can see last year when this new growth was being formed was when we were hot and dry, and so they just dried up. Now it doesn't damage the plant permanently, because there were buds, lateral buds lower than those tips that were opening up this season. So so again, our Mother Nature has been a blessing with all the rain we had in April. It's really helped our plants kind of gear up and get ready for the growing season. So I'm hoping that you fertilize, give the plants the fertilizer as the building blocks to make their parts, to go forward. I also saw this. I saw this needle cast fungus on a spruce, and the sample came in. All the needles had dropped off, and when you put it in the microscope, see all the pycnidia? Those are the black bumps on, not a horticulture or scientific term, but those black bumps are where the spore is formed, and it will be released, and it will inoculate the new growth that is going to be emerging in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So be ready to spray this plant with a fungicide, and I would start doing it right now, and every 2 weeks for 3 applications. Now, again, the most common question, how can I fix my lawn? And I was telling people I use the Scott Step 1 for seeding on my lawn. Look how great it looks. Okay, and then I told everybody to wait 2 weeks for the plants to wake up. And mine took a month because it was so cold. It was so cold, but it finally woke up and it just looks lush. And then I'm going to overseed the bare areas. My front yard's okay. It's more shady. I'm gonna put seed on my backyard because I've got some terrible spots. I'll show you that. I can't believe I'm showing you this, but I'll show you the terrible spots I have in my backyard from the Furcaria nevus. And then upcoming, at the end of the month, it's time to do another fertilizer application. We do the fertilizer applications every 8 weeks. And so between May 31st and June 15th, I like to use the Espoma lawn fertilizer, and I like to recommend that. It's organically based, it's a little juiced, and I'll show you this. We haven't seen any of Dollar Spot. I got a report again from the Golf Course Association that they saw one of the early patch diseases on some of the greens, just because of the hot temperatures. And this was the calendar, showing what to do in May: fertilize, at the end of the month until the beginning of June. And this is the Espoma lawn food. It's a slow release, long-term fertilizer. I like to say it's juice. It has a little extra nitrogen. So it's a 15% nitrogen, 0 phosphorus, and 5% potassium. There's no phosphorus. By law, lawn fertilizers can't have any phosphorus in them unless they're used for new seed, and you have new seed starting. And then, like I said, I'm going to overseed. And then this shows how thick to spread the seed, and by eating a hot dog from Irving's. And then there's the diagram: too light, too heavy, and just right. It's the same thickness as the poppy seeds on those buns. And you also want to keep focusing on early season weed prevention, and if you're seeing these wild onion, and they're all over Chicago because that's where the name Chicago comes from. It's the wild onion. But conditions that favor their growth is if you mow the lawn too short, and if you're not fertilizing the lawn, then the wild onion can get really active. And this is how you take care of it. Use sedge ender, and sedge ender will really do a good job. And it also takes care of a lot of the other broadleaf weeds that we have. This is the bad guy. This is the bad guy. And I've been talking about this for weeks. It is an extreme ephemeral. This is my backyard where I had a lot of it. And I used the Scott Step 1 for seeding, and it dinged it up. And you can see on the April 18th picture how it really dinged it up. And then May 16th, you can see how I treated with the Natria maleic hydrazide, and it's the substitute for Roundup that we sell here at Chalet. And look what it did. It killed it all the way down to the roots. And then you can see where I missed a spot. So I'm going to go back and take care of that this weekend. And you have to do it before they go dormant. These are extreme ephemerals. As soon as those leaves drop off, you have to wait till next year to take care of it. And then you have these stupid little bulbils that are in the leaf axils. They drop to the ground and form more tubers. So again, these are all the products that will take care of it. And it's chickweed clover and oxalis is the best one. And then you can also use the sedge ender as well. Okay, and here they are: chickweed clover and oxalis. Weed Beater Ultra was good when we were cooler. Don't use it now, because there are better active ingredients in the chickweed clover and oxalis killer. We don't have the gallon size on it. We have the spray bottle, the ready to use. It's called the ready to use spray bottle, and then the concentrate. And the concentrate will make that bottle, that little jar will make up to 10. It's actually 11 gallons of spray, but you use it in a tank sprayer instead of a hose-in sprayer. And then this is the Weed Beater FE, which is iron hetida, and then there's the sedge ender again. I love the Grass Be Gone. All the grasses are starting to actively grow, not in the lawns, but also in the rose beds, the flower beds, and the ground cover beds. So this is the best thing to use. It used to be called Over the Top when it was first invented. So you can spray over the top of your desirable plants, over the top of roses, over the ground covers, and it only kills the grass. And now is the perfect time. The grass is just at the fourth leaf stage. And so it's very, very effective. You spray, and within 10 days, they're gone. All the grass is gone. Now I have to show you the progress of my great grandmother's peonies that I transferred from the farm down in Browns, Illinois. So this was what it looked like over the winter. And you can see how I cleaned it up, the upper picture up on the upper right-hand side. And then May 5th, you can see how they were growing and getting up. And I believe this other one was May 10th, and with the first bud showing up. And then this is what they looked on the 16th. And I thought for sure that I'd have flowers. And I even checked them this morning, and the buds are just cracking. They just started to crack open and just starting to see the white color. So next Garden Coach, you'll see them full and in action. Okay. Oh, and this was the May 18th picture. Look how tall they got. And then those are the irises. Those are my grandmother's irises and my great grandmother's peonies. And then there's still time to protect the plants that are susceptible to fungal problems. And because our growing degree days have been so low, even that week of 88-degree temperatures only evened us up, caught us up 1 week. We're still 2 weeks behind on the growing degree days. And growing degree days are the accumulated number of degrees over 50 that each day has experienced. And we're still 2 weeks behind normal. So you want to get out there. And the good thing is all of the fungal diseases are really late to wake up. So it's giving us a great time to protect, and from plants getting inoculated. So I've used this slide quite frequently over the last couple of garden coaches, but there's apple scab on crabapple, apples, and cotoneasters, black spot on roses, rust on roses, botrytis bud blight on roses and peonies, Volutella semblite on pachysandra and boxwood, powdery mildew on lilac, monarda, roses, and a lot more. And then the patch diseases on turfgrass. So you want to use the products early. You want to use them before the disease gets in and to protect, the foliage. And both of these are excellent. They're both systemic, and Immunox and also infused. Myclobutanil and propiconazole are the active ingredients in these. And you spray every 2 weeks, and it doesn't wash up in the rain. So they're so wonderful. Then our soil drenches, we have the combination products that are systemic. So like the BioAdvanced all-in-one rose and flower care, it's a 9-14-9 fertilizer with a systemic fungicide and a systemic insecticide. Great for roses, great for peonies, great for pachysandra. If you want to do a drench, it's 2 ounces in 2 gallons of water, and you pour that over an area that's 3 by 4, 12 square feet. Now, if you want to use your own fertilizer, you can use the Rose RX. This is just the insecticide and the fungicide, no fertilizer. And then if you're going to do earth-friendly natural fungicides, the copper fungicide is great. And I don't have a picture of the ready-to-use spray bottle, but we have that. It's in stock, and you can use that on basil and spray one day, and then you can harvest 24 hours later, and then wash it off, and it keeps it from basil's another thing that gets downy mildew. So the liquid copper fungicide in that small bottle is copper soap, copper octanoate, and then the spray bottle is the copper soap. The other two are powders that if you mix them into a spray, you have to agitate the spray to keep all the particles in a suspension, okay, when you're spraying it. And then these are the preventative fungicides for the lawns. They're in hose and sprayers. They're sprayed at the rate of 7 ounces per gallon rather than 1 ounce per gallon that is recommended for the herbaceous plants. And then the garden planter, don't forget the garden planter. You can still, get your tomatoes out and your peppers. You should actually wait until Memorial Day for peppers, because we're going to have a couple of cool nights going forward. Peppers hate getting chilled at all, even worse than tomatoes do. So, enjoy the fun schedule on that. And then that's the plan. I love the plans that Renee's Gardens have. Now, okay, let me see, it's 25 till. I'm going to show you what I'm doing in my garden, and I'm going to show you the progression in my garden. Okay, these are my raised beds, and I still don't have mine planted. And the peas that I put in, and I think I have a picture of that, but no, I don't. That I blocked it. The peas I put in, all the seeds were eaten by the squirrels. My kale or my collard greens, I only had 3 plants come up. I'm a pathetic, gardener. I planted them way before I went out of town on my vacation, thinking I would get something, and it didn't work. So I'm playing catch up myself. All right. So and then I love showing you these. May 2nd, and then look at May 9th. It was just, oh my gosh. And this was in 1 week. Again, May 1st, May 17th, my lawn. This is May 10th. And that was the day that I noticed that, this is what it looked like. And then a week later, the leaves popped out. That was the first 88-degree day that we had. the leaves popped out. And that was this date. And this was, okay, I came home from work, looked down the street and saw that all the trees popped leaves. It was just incredible, absolutely incredible. And then this was my house. And I did a shot looking down the street and then looking back and up at my trees. This is a honey locust, a pin oak over to the right. You can see the pin oak was just opening up. It was actually, those were all the pollen sacs that were dropping. And then my bouquets, I love doing the bouquets. You can tell the rabbits got my tulips. See how they chewed the leaves off, and then and then kind of stunted. So my tulips, it didn't look so good, but my tete-a-tete daffodils with my grape hyacinth really looked cute, adorable. Here's what it looked like May 11th. Okay, and then comparison. This is a blue cadet hosta. Okay, May 12th, they were just opening up. And then a week later, I mean, not even a full week later, look how big they got. And this was, looking at it running down the sidewalk. And this is looking at the side view of it. I'm proud of this because this was one big clump that 2 years ago I dug up. It was so massive. I had to use my pruning saw to cut it up. And I cut it into like 8 pie wedges. And then planted, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clumps. And look how good that looks. It's a perfect location too. These are my blue angel hostas. This is what they look like May 8th. And you can see that I actually need to divide these because this has the classic donut hole where the center there was no growth. So last fall I planted tulips in there. And then as it's growing up, you can't tell it has donut hole. So I that's one of those things I'll put off. Okay, and then my aglow rhododendron were just absolutely in prime shape on May 14th. And you can see, look how all the hostas are just popping out of the ground. And then I turned my sprinkler system on because of not having any rain that whole week. That Monday after, this was the Monday after the frost-free date, which was Sunday. I turned my sprinkler system on, and this is an ancient golf course sprinkler system that was put in my lawn, and it still keeps working. And I'm showing you the head that the lawn is way too long, and so it needed to be cut. And so then I had it cut right after 2 days after I turned this on. But it was so nice, and the main reason I turned the sprinkler on is, I don't know if you can see the aglow rhododendron. It would be right behind the street lamp or the yard lamp. It had wilted on me, so it got too hot and too dry for it. So it had wilted. So oh my God, I've got to get my sprinkler system going. So it's always, I get very religious when I turn my sprinkler system on because I'm always worried the sprinkler heads aren't going to work. This was actually put in when the house was built in 1949. And it was a golf course system, and I swear that's why my first husband wanted to buy the house, because it had this incredible sprinkler system. Look at this, is one of my favorite hostas. It's called Victory, and because it's called Victory, and it tends to be more of an upright V shape. So the stems come up, and when it gets mature, you look at it and you can see the stems are in a V shape. But these are huge leaves. These leaves right now are 15 inches long and 12 inches wide. And you can see the Victory in the front with 2 blue angels in the bed right behind it. And then this is my front yard filling in, and look how fluffy it is. It needed to be mowed, and it was mowed the 17th. And then here it is. I got photos of it showing how thick the lawn was after it was, it was cut. And then the day afterwards, I took these photos. And then my blue angel hostas again, they're just, I mean, growing out. Oh, and I love seeing this in my garden. I always talk about snowdrops and how they're one of the best bulbs for naturalizing and perennializing. And perennializing means that it will make more bulbs under the ground. And naturalizing means that seed pods form, and then throw seed. That's a seed pod. See that little, it looks like a grape on the end of that stem? That's a seed pod from snowdrops. So, so watch for that in your own garden. And then again, in my own garden, I'm applying the plant skid like crazy. This is a baby rabbit, on the other side of the fence and, in my neighbor's yard, just stalking my garden. So, and then we're right here. Let me see, it's quarter till. And thank you for watching. I've got about 6 questions. And here's to frost-free gardening, And then, be sure and come and get some good deals here at Chalet. Let me pull these questions up. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Okay, wait, I'm going to see. Hold on just a minute. Oh, this is me. Oh, I stopped sharing too early. Okay, here we go. And now the questions and answers. All right. Oh, I got to thank you because I answered questions before even starting. Sandra, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, I should know who Anonymous is, and I know who you are. And okay, I love growing sun patiens in pots and planters, but have an issue with Japanese beetles. Oh yeah. Okay, I use the BioAdvance Rose Drench to control them on my roses. Can I use this in pots and hanging baskets? Absolutely, absolutely. Use the same recommendation for the roses. You measure 2 ounces, in the measuring cap, in a gallon of water, and then just pour that right through the hanging basket. And it lasts for 6 weeks. So mark your calendar and then do an application every 6 weeks. If you do it now, I kind of was cheating with people saying, well, plan on it being April, May 15. And then the next one you'll apply would be July 1st. And then the next one after that would be August 15. And it has a fertilizer and the fungicide and the insecticide. So it'll really do the trick. Okay, great. Okay, I'm gonna get these done. Okay, and then this one, oh, Anonymous again. 2 years ago, I did a full cut down of an overgrown forsythia. Oh, good job. Okay, took it all the way back to the soil. Okay, and it grew back last year. And then this year, it fully bloomed because of all the new wood, or the old wood from last year, the new old wood from last year. Could I cut the whole thing down again and let it grow over the summer? I have the same uniform bloom again next, or is that much too much stress on the plant? Oh, that's a good question. I think what I would do, no, you know what? On the forsythia, make sure you fertilize it, keep it well watered, through the growing season. Cut it down before the 15th of July. And then it will regrow. Well, technically, you can prune it back as soon as it's done blooming, and that's right now. So you can go ahead and prune it back, give it that good fertilizer, and just let it regrow. And again, watch the water. And if you were able to do it last year, you did a good job, because last year was just, and that was the test of Mother Nature for people to keep things growing and and surviving. We've had more replacements because of drought and heat damage than I've ever seen in the 31 years that I have been here at Chalet. Last year was horrible. Okay, now, oh, here we go. And then, okay, Anonymous again. Should I cut out the long tendrils on red twig? I'm not sure I understand what tendrils are on a red twig dogwood. How low may you cut? What I like to do on red twig dogwood is cut the branches down 1/3 of the height, 1/3 of the length, and then look in and count the thickest, brownest stems and then you cut those off all the way at the ground. And technically you only want to cut 1/3 of the whole shrub out. And that's the rule of thumb on pruning, unless you've got something that's really vigorous. You want to only take 1/3 of the top growth out in comparison to the root growth every year. And technically it's every 3 years to do maintenance, pruning. But if you can do an overgrown shrub 3 years in a row without stressing it out, following that rule of 3. Now, viburnum with flowers on branches but few leaves, leave if they're small. Well, the viburnums are just waking up, and the flowers come out first, and then the branches come out. So make sure it's well watered. I would give it some fertilizer. and I like to use the Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom Booster because it has that high phosphorus, especially for root growth, because they really had trouble last year and they need help with their roots, but also enough, phosphorus for flower bud production. So, so yeah, it's still early. It's really early, for viburnums. Okay, and then now this is Christy. Hi. What did you say to use to prevent the viburnum leaf beetle? Okay, I missed what you said. Okay, so the viburnum leaf beetle is the BioAdvanced or the Bonide 12-month or annual tree and shrub insecticide. And we sell it in 32-ounce bottles in the BioAdvanced and the Bonide. And we sell a gallon size in the Bonide, which is 128 ounces. So, so that's what you want to use like right now. I mean, right now. Now, if you see the larvae have hatched and they're feeding on leaves, don't wait to use the drench. We have a hose-in sprayer that is from the Bonide company, and it's labeled systemic insecticide. Get the hose-in sprayer, spray, it'll kill the larva on contact, and it also stays in the leaves the minute they're coated, and it stays in for 30 days, even if it rains. So kind of keep your eyes open because, man, it's going to happen any day soon. Okay, great question. Okay, and that was Christy. Thank you. And then this is Sue Armbruster. What is the difference between in-ground and raised bed uses? I often add raised bed soil in ground and then plant. That the raised bed mixes are excellent because they've got about a 20% organic matter. They might be enhanced. The two different brands are enhanced differently with nutrients, but they make great amendments just as well. They're a little pricier than using our standard amendments, but they work wonderfully. They work wonderfully. Okay, good question. Thanks. That was excellent. Okay, and then PB, after snowdrop blooms die, do the leaves remain during summer? That's a great question. The snowdrops, the foliage stays up. It's usually for, the bulbs are recharged after 10 weeks. So if you want to cut it back, you can. The snowdrops are usually tucked in under everything else. I've never pruned back snowdrop, foliage because the other plants grow up over and around it. And, but usually on most bulbs, the foliage is up and you want to leave it up for 8 to 10 weeks. So it recharges the bulb because it's photosynthesizing. So like tulips and daffodils, they'll hang around in our gardens, for, 2 months because we get rain. In the Mediterranean, the rain stops. And so, so they die back, really quickly. But here they'll hang on and hang on and hang on. And if you don't want to look at yellowing foliage, just go in and cut it off at the ground level and you're done. Okay. Then Diana, my landscaper trimmed my azalea and now no blooms. Oh, I'm so sorry. When should it be pruned? Usually you wait till after it finishes flowering and then you can prune it and follow that rule of 3. And rhododendrons and azaleas really respond beautifully to pruning them back, and the new wood will grow out and it looks really good. But boy, if you prune the wrong time of year, ooh, so sad because you lose your blooms. But it's really important. Keep them well watered, and it's really important. I love the Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom Booster for rhododendrons and azaleas. Do it May 15th and do it again July 15th. And that July 15th is the nutrient that helps the plant, completely form and make more flower buds for next year. So don't forget that midsummer fertilizer. People think they don't need to do it, but oh man, that is probably the most important one. Okay, here we go. And then Diana again. Why do prickly weeds only grow in one area of my yard? Well, it sounds like those are thistles, and thistle is dropped by goldfinches. The seeds of the thistle and the thistle that we sell as as bird seed, and oh my God, it's not thistle. Well, it is thistle. And I'm just blanking. Oh, you can tell I stayed up too late working on my PowerPoint last night. But when the wild birds come in and feed on your thistle feeders, they drop the wild thistle seed, and then those are the prickly weeds that you're talking about. So it's usually areas where the birds are up in the trees, or if they're near the bird feeders. That's where you see more of those weeds. I have a funny story about that. My husband always wants to help me in the garden, but he knows nothing about horticulture, and he's pulled too many good plants. So his only job that he is allowed to do in the garden, and we have a huge yard, it's a lot and a half, so there's a lot to take care of. He's only allowed to pull thistle because he can always identify it. So I guess I should offer to rent him out to you, but no, but I better not. I better not. Okay. Don't tell him I said that. Okay, here we go. All right, now Christy again. I have some arborvitae that the rabbits ate. Oh, I'm so sorry. They don't look as bad as your picture, but they do have a big hole. The trees are on the southeast side of my house. I would like to put something in the bare space. Well, okay, wood, a bleeding heart work there. I'm concerned about the amount of sun and shade. My other thought is a hosta, but I'm already at war with the rabbits. Yeah, I would not put something that's instantaneously rabbit food. Bleeding heart would work great because rabbits don't bother that. And bleeding hearts are kind of interesting in that they're almost an ephemeral. That after they finish blooming and we get really hot, like when we get hot and hot, like we haven't been hot, they go dormant. And so that would be a good idea, and it would look really cute. Now the problem is when you put a plant there, you're going to prevent the lateral branches on either side of the hole that it was created. The laterals will have a tendency to grow into the hole. They're very opportunistic, and they say, "Ooh, there's sun over there. I'm going to grow into that area." So don't be too excited about putting a plant to fill the spot, because the lateral branches on the branches adjacent to where the hole is could fill in. All right, so kind of if you're going to put something to distract from the hole, plant it out further away, and then you get that trick called Pick's level. Your eye stops right where you've got the new plant, and it blocks the eye won't look at the hole in the arborvitae. So use that trick, and don't put something in the middle of the hole that'll keep the lateral branches from filling in. Okay, great question. Okay, and then this is Sedona. Sorry, I sent all my questions to the chat. Oh, okay, I'll go to the chat. Okay, and I'll get this one done, and get this one. I'll close this one out, and then we'll go to the chat. And this is for Sedona. Thanks for hanging in with me. Okay, is it time to fertilize rhododendrons now to finish blooming? Yes, absolutely. My favorite is the Dr. Earth Bud and Bloom Booster. Okay, and because it has that 9% phosphorus, and it's 1 cup every 10 square feet. So I usually think in terms of a rhododendron or an azalea being in a 3 by 3 square foot area. That's 9 square feet. So you just sprinkle that all over the ground, even on top of mulch, and it'll work its way in for the next 60 days. So May 15th, July 15th, or, moving up. This is going to be more like, the end of May. So, well, I would kind of follow the May 15th, July 15th. You can still get by doing that. Okay. And then any suggestions on how to revive yellowing yews because of too much moisture received in April? Oh my God. Yes. I have the best solution. It is a product. It's a transplant solution, and the yews just so respond to it so nicely. It's the Bonide Company Root and Grow, and you mix it 2 ounces. And I like to say that the men's version is 2 shot glasses. The women's is 4 tablespoons. And if you're a lucky woman, you know what a shot glass is. So it's just 2 shot glasses of the Root and Grow concentrate and a gallon of water, and pour that right where the trunk of the yew goes into the ground. And we don't want you to crawl under, a yew, but just so walk over the center and pour it right down through the center. Do that every 2 weeks for the next 6 weeks. And what that does is that stimulates the roots to recover, and they recover beautifully. And if you caught it soon enough, you'll help stop that yellowing. And what may be happening is a reaction from the drought last year too. As the new growth comes out on the ends of the branches, the needles in the center will drop and turn yellow and drop off. Don't worry, when the new growth comes, it masks that. And then you can go and you can kind of go shake, the use, and all those needles will drop down, and just leave them as mulch. They love that. Okay. And then what type of soil would you recommend for planting tomatoes in pots outside? Oh, my favorite, I splurge and get the Dr. Earth vegetable planting mix, and I put those in containers. It is phenomenal. And then fertilize with the Dr. Earth tomato and vegetable and herb food, tomato, vegetable, herb food. And it lasts 30 days in a pot because we water we have to water so frequently in a pot, almost daily. And then out in the garden though, it lasts 60 days. But use the Dr. Earth, vegetable planting mix in your containers. Incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm so glad you pointed out that your questions were in the chat box, and it worked great. And thank you for the thank you. And boy, I'm finishing right on time. My marketing people and my sales manager is really, she's going to say, atta girl, atta girl. So everybody, thank you so much. Come in and say hi to me when you come into the nursery, or we also call it the garden. And if you want to work with any of the salespeople, there's this new system now where you have to make appointments. So it's called the Plant Information Center, the PIC. That used to be the old nursery office. Go and put your name in, and they'll give you a time slot. And if you want to work with me, you can make an appointment to work with me. And we have 15-minute appointments and 30-minute appointments. So make an appointment, and you get my undivided attention. Is that cool? So everybody, thank you. Oh, and PB, thank you. Excellent as always. I really appreciate that. That greatly appreciated. So see you in the garden, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. All right. Bye now.